welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. Today I have another challenge chat for you. So I'm coming at you with episode 13. We just left off with a cliffhanger of them coming into this nighttime challenge, which I'm really getting tired of the cliffhangers, but whatever. So I noticed this week's episode is only 60 minutes, so this should be a little bit shorter of a recap, especially because this challenge, it seemed like there were only a couple teams that were really trying. So let's get into this challenge. So there were different tasks that they had to complete, and basically the end result would be that they were going to be escaping from the cage that they were in. So it was basically kind of like an escape room kind of thing, and they had to do tasks in the meantime to get to their final clue to get them out. So task one, they just had to hold the ball. Doesn't seem too hard, right? But it's like a heavy ball, and you don't know how long you're gonna have to hold it for. TJ just says hold it until he says so. So they show the little clock, and it had been 30 minutes, then an hour, then an hour and a half. So we already start off with the first hour and a half of this challenge. They're just holding this heavy object. You can kind of already see which partners are getting frustrated with each other, which ones seem to be mentally checked out of the challenge. We find out that Fessy is going to intentionally throw this challenge. He doesn't want to win, because if you become a double agent by winning the challenge, then you can't be stolen. And Fessy wants to be stolen this week because he doesn't want to be partners with Anissa anymore. Kyle also seems to kind of not be giving it 100% effort, kind of making Nany hold the ball a little bit more. But anyway, they all make it through at least an hour and a half until TJ says stop, and it's time for task number 2, which is disgusting, and it has to do with eating. They have to eat all of the entrees in front of them. We see some different things. We see some cheesy water drink, some ram testicles, just a typical nasty eating challenge. You can kind of, again, see who's giving it their all, who's kind of hesitant, and Fessy, again, not really eating. And so Anissa's like, okay, well then I'm not gonna eat because you're barely eating. TJ asks, okay, are you guys quitting? And Anissa's like, I don't know, ask him. So no one officially quits, but they're just like taking tiny little nibbles just so they're still in it, and they don't officially quit, but whatever, basically quitting. And then Nany doesn't want to eat either, and Nany was the one that was just saying how badly she wants to earn her skull. So I'm thinking, well, if you want to earn your skull so badly, shouldn't you do everything you can to win? Casey and Leroy are absolutely killing it at this point. Cory and Gabby are actually doing pretty good too. So both of those teams are the first teams to finish all their entrees and move on to the third task. There are 5 total. When they get to the third task, they have to solve an equation, and then they'll get a code. So basically, they get this math equation, which always isn't the easiest to do, like in your head. Of course, most people can do a simple 8 by 7 or, you know, something a little bit smaller numbers, but these are some larger numbers, so it's just making Leroy a little bit flustered. He calls out to Cam, and Cam helps him with the equation. And to me, I'm thinking like, wow, you guys can't even win a challenge by yourself. And while I understand that's the benefit of having an alliance, it just kind of sucks when teams can't always finish things on their own. So they are the first ones to go to task number 4, which is breaking these cinder blocks to find a key. So they're breaking these. Gabby and Cory are now on task number 3. So basically they're all going through these tasks, but Gabby and Cory are catching up to Leroy and Casey, but Leroy and Casey had this edge pretty much the whole time. It does get a little bit neck and neck when they're on task number 5 and 6. Task 5 is where they had to scratch a blackboard for a clue. And they find the right tools to scratch off this blackboard, giving them a clue saying to look here for this key. They get this key and they unlock themselves and they get out of the cage, meaning Leroy and Casey win the daily challenge. One thing I did like is that after this challenge, TJ calls everyone out that wasn't really trying. He's like, good job to Leroy and Casey for winning. Good job to Cory and Gabby for trying hard to catch up. Everyone else, you pretty much suck. Like, if you can't handle this, there's no way you're gonna be able to handle the final. Meanwhile, back at the house, Nany's feeling pretty good because Leroy is her friend, and she thinks, okay, I didn't win the challenge today, but someone I know did. Casey's my girl too. I think they're gonna do what I want and put me in to get my skull, but more on that later. Meanwhile, Gabby and Fessy finally hook up. I mean, they've only been leading up to this all season. So when we get to Deliberation, I mean, this week I feel like it's probably the easiest week for Deliberation because most people in the house at this point have skulls. But for the girls, there's only 3 people that don't have it. And Nani made a really good point and pointed that out. Big T doesn't have a skull, but she's rogue this week, so she couldn't even participate in the daily challenge, and she also can't participate in the crater elimination. So that only leaves 2 other girls that don't have a skull. And why would a girl that has a skull want to go down and defend it? They wouldn't. So since there's only 1 gold skull left to get, Nani says it makes sense for Gabby and I to go down there and battle it out. We both want to, so that's what we want. The house agrees. They vote in Gabby and Cory to be the house. It's actually good for Cory too, because if for some reason this ends up being a surprise men's elimination or even a double elimination, then Cory could earn his gold skull. So there's no problem for Cory being the house vote either. The interesting thing about the Deliberation though is that Anissa kind of calls out both Gabby and Nani and says, well, if you guys go down there and you win, like, are you changing partners? And both of them say they don't know. However, you might recall in my last video, Nani said that she wanted to pick Fessy. And we all know that Gabby and Fessy are not only hooking up, but they've already had a friendship throughout this game, and I think Gabby's gonna pick Fessy as well. They've talked about it. So Fessy is pretty confident whoever wins is picking him regardless. She starts crying to Nani, and that kind of puts Nani in a weird place because, you know, Nani knows she's going to be going down. She might be stealing Fessy, and here Anissa is crying to her, saying, I've been in this game 14 seasons. I just want to make it to the final. But if you watch the Challenge Aftermath show, Anissa explained the reason why she was so emotional is just because she really wants to get to the final. Like, she doesn't really care how she does it. She just wants to get there. And she doesn't care if it's with Fessy or who. She just wants to get there, and she wants people to be upfront with her. She would be more upset that she's kind of more hurt that like her own partner doesn't want her. She's not necessarily hurt that someone like wants to steal her away. So when they get to the elimination, we find out they're playing Ring of Spies, and Gabby and Cory, of course, were the house vote, and Nani and Kyle were the voted in team by Casey and Leroy, the double agents, which again makes perfect sense. I mean, Leroy and Nani, they go way back. It makes sense. We knew this was gonna happen. I think it's gonna be a really good matchup because Gabby, like she said, is like a fitness instructor or a personal trainer, one of those two. And her and Nani are pretty even in size. I actually think Gabby might be bigger than Nani. And so I'm actually so nervous. Like, I'm really nervous because one, it sucks because I actually have grown to kind of like Gabby, but Nani's my girl. I know a lot of people actually don't like Nani or they're kind of over her at this point, but I've always liked Nani all the way back from Real World. She was always one of my favorites, so I'm like, well, I gotta root for my girl Nani, but it does suck that her and Gabby are going against each other. So when the elimination starts, I'm like actually really nervous. Nani starts crying in her interview, and I'm just like, get it together, girl. Like, come on. Be strong, get it together. So we start off, and basically, you know, the ring's hanging in the middle. They have to run, grab the ring, but then they also have to take it back to their side. And so basically they're defending each other. So we start off round 1, and Gabby gets the first point. And I'm like, oh no, this is gonna get in Nani's head. This happens every time. It's gonna get in Nani's head. So you kind of flash over to an interview of Nani saying, normally I get in my head and I would get down on myself, but not this time. So second round, Nani comes out strong. She does get the ring first. They get the ring, you know, they're going back and forth, really fighting, really holding on. Like, Nani's doing a great job. She ends up getting the second point. Now this is the part, I put it down in my notes because I thought it was something I didn't want to forget to mention. Gabby said, after Nani tied it up, there was a moment when they locked eyes, and Gabby said it looked like Nani wanted to kill her. And I can just imagine the adrenaline of that. Like, competition, I love it so much. Like, I just miss competing for anything. I'm like a hugely competitive person, and I hate losing. So I can just imagine like the thrill of being down there, but then also like the heartbreak of losing. I hate losing so much. I hate it. So I can just imagine like you're going into that final round and this is gonna be a good fight. I have to admit it, it's embarrassing, but I had to pause it and I couldn't handle the anxiety. I paused it and then I went to Twitter to see who won because I couldn't deal with the suspense. I wanted Nany to win, but like I said, I've been avoiding spoilers this season, and if she lost, I wanted to be prepared. I know that sounds dorky and lame, but oh well. So I went to Twitter, I saw that Nany won, and then I went back to the episode and hit play and watched it play out. So in the third round, Nany was able to grab the ring first. They're still pretty much hanging on. There was a part where Nany and Gabby were kind of spaced out a little bit. Nany was able to kind of go around Gabby, kind of do a little fake out, and she was able to run over to her pole, put the ring on, and she won. Yes, you go, Nany. Now the crazy thing is, it's time to pick a partner, and we kind of know they were talking about, is Nany gonna pick someone else or not? Well, she goes, I'm gonna pick Fessy. I'm like, oh great, Anissa's gonna be mad. Well, again in the aftermath show, Nany said that she had looked up to Anissa and kind of got the go ahead. Like she kind of looked at her and was like, is that okay? And Anissa was like, you do what's best for you. And so Nany picked Fessy, which I'm sure Fessy is stoked about, even though he's sad that Gabby's going home. Poor Fessy. So Nany's with Fessy, which in a way sucks because I don't like Fessy, but I like Nany. So I don't know if they're gonna stay partners through the whole final. That's one thing I'm not sure about. Again, I haven't read any spoilers. I haven't intentionally sought out any spoilers, so I don't know what the format of the final is gonna be. If it's going to be like some former seasons where you run each leg of the final with a different person. Do you stick with your partner the entire time or not? I'm not sure. In a way, I kind of hope they run with someone different the whole time because I would like Nany to win for the girls, but not Fessy. So anyway, that leaves Anissa without a partner. She has two options then, Kyle or Cory, and she picks Kyle. I'm interested to see how this partnership is going to go over, and then Cory is automatically paired with Big T then. So I'm interested to see their fate as well, because at this point, I believe they're the only team left that doesn't have a gold skull. As far as memorable moments, I definitely just would say that elimination, because it was really great just to actually see two people that really wanted to compete. I'm tired of these daily challenges that just seems like people just skimp out and they don't want to compete. This one really seemed like their heart was in it for both of them, and they gave it their all, and that was a great elimination. Another memorable moment I would say is just Nany picking Fessy. I almost would have picked Darrell. I mean, Darrell and Amber B work great together, but I just feel like Fessy, I'm pretty sure Fessy gassed out a little bit last season in the final, so I'm pretty sure Darrell runs and he's in really good shape, and with his experience, I think I would have picked Darrell. As far as Alliance updates, at this point, who freaking knows? No really new updates, I would say. The Alliance is all kind of spread out, you know, like Cory and Fessy seem to be on the same page again. Obviously Leroy and Cam, then Darrell, like Amber B and Fessy are still together. So I don't know. But other than that, thanks for watching this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one.